Hi, I'm Ed. It's great to see you all again. Well, you've likely finished up watching the profile validity and target ranges videos. I hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. Well, now we're going to take a deeper dive into the day one factors. The reason we call these the day one factors is because these are the three critical factors that managers need to pay attention to from the first day of a new employee's tenure. To learn more about these factors, let's take a look at what our scientists have been up to. Our team of researchers has been studying what the organizational psychology literature calls employee engagement. Scientists define employee engagement as a positive, fulfilling, work-related state of mind that is characterized by vigor, dedication, and absorption. Now, of course, they couldn't use language that normal people would understand. Just kidding, guys. But to translate, employee engagement occurs when a worker is present and focused, not worried about other things, and is able to bring their full talents and abilities to the job. Basically, they are focused on helping things go right in their job. And it turns out that employee engagement accounts for a lot of things in the workplace. For example, low levels of engagement lead to counterproductive work behaviors, higher risk of termination, as well as a lower realization of potential. Now, it also turns out that if the employee is engaged with the job and the organization, very positive things can result, such as better performance compared to those with low levels of engagement, fewer absences, as well as a better workplace culture. Turns out there's a lot to this engagement deal. So now the question is, what can we do about it? Well, first, let's understand how engagement works. Remember, employees are engaged when they are focused on using their talents and skills to help things go right in the job. So inbound engagement is how ready, on day one, the employee is to use his or her skills to help things go right. Now, remember that not all people start at the same place. Each individual employee comes in with their own level of inbound engagement. Now, this is when things really start to get fun. So remember again that employees are engaged when they're focused on using their talents and skills to help things go right in their job. But what happens when they start worrying about other things and forget to focus on how to make things go right? Well, there are three factors that cause an employee's engagement to waver. These factors are how they acclimate to others, how they learn and practice the duties of their new job, and how they're able to adjust their work habits. Now, depending on how well these go, a new hire's engagement levels may go up, down, or even stay right where they are. This chart illustrates how employees come in with different levels of inbound engagement on the left, and then based on how well they respond to the three factors we just talked about, their engagement will fluctuate during their tenure. The manager's job in all of this is to find ways to help things go right by paying attention to the three factors that are influencing engagement. Now, with the WSQ screening report, we've taken some of the guesswork out of this. Here we see on the Day One Factors page in the report those three factors laid out: acclimating to new culture, engaging with job requirements, and adjusting work habits. Now, I'm just going to fly around a little bit so I can show you these different concepts. So let's look at the first factor, acclimating to new culture. We see that the indicator is all the way to the right in the red zone. This means that this employee will need a manager with the skills and time to invest in helping this person become acclimated to this new work environment. Here we see Sarah with her new manager, and he's basically rattling off a list of things she needs to get accomplished during her first week. So recall that we learned from Sarah's report that when she starts a new job, acclimating to new coworkers and a new environment is something that she needs some guidance and support with. But all of a sudden, these new coworkers are approaching her in their own unique ways, asking and demanding. And now we see the frustrations and tensions begin to rise, both in Sarah and her supervisor. Without some guidance from her manager, we begin to see how everyone forgets to focus on helping things go right. Blame creeps in. Her manager can't imagine why she won't listen. The situation will likely continue to escalate until Sarah either doesn't show up or is terminated. Now, if Sarah's manager had been aware of the guidance and support she needed in regards to acclimating to others, he would have first been able to see her as a person with a desire to contribute. Then he would have used his skills and abilities to help Sarah realize that different people have different communication styles and expectations. She might have been able to turn it around pretty easily and remember to keep focused on doing her best. So, let's take a look at the next factor. Engaging with job requirements. This is getting at how important role clarification will be for the employee to learn and execute the duties of the job. The further the indicator is to the right, the more necessary it will be for the manager to clarify and communicate job expectations on a regular basis. Sometimes it can be obvious to see if someone is struggling to learn the duties of their new job after a week or so. However, if you know ahead of time that someone will need extra role clarification, then you can plan for that accordingly. Particularly for those new employees who might need a little extra support, a clear discussion about role clarification will likely do the trick. Here we see Sarah's manager sitting down for a brief conversation outlining the expectations and reminding her that he is here to help keep her accountable and focused on doing the right things in the job. Wouldn't we all benefit from a kind reminder to refocus from time to time? I know I do. And now to the last factor, adjusting work habits. Now, in this case, the further the indicator is to the right, the more Sarah's manager will need to help Sarah identify the work habits that might be getting in the way of her success. Now, not all work habits get in the way. Some are very helpful. But it's important to discuss which ones are helpful for a particular job and which ones might need changing. Let's take a look. So, in her last job, Sarah worked primarily on independent projects. She developed a great habit of holding up, shutting out the noise, and getting down to work. It was awesome for that job. But now she's working at a company that almost never divides up projects individually. So her manager has tried to help her see how she'll need to find a new routine that helps remind her to collaborate, check in, and ask for feedback more regularly. Again, if Sarah's supervisor is aware that she needs help in adjusting some of her work habits, then he can be intentional about guiding her through this transition and establishing new, effective habits, all so she can become as successful in her new role as possible. Well, as you can see, there's a lot more to this management thing that we'll need to talk about later. So look for our upcoming management series, starring me, Ed, to learn how you can help each of your employees realize their potential. But for now, let's recap what we've learned in this video. So first, remember that each employee comes into the job with a level of inbound engagement that fluctuates based on the 3 DayOne factors. These 3 factors include how they acclimate to others, how they learn and execute the duties of their new job, and how they're able to adjust their work habits. And remember, in the report, the further the indicator is to the right, the more help and guidance they will need from their manager. Finally, I want to remind you to visit the other videos in this WSQ screening series, particularly the final video, the Screening Index and DayOne Index. Well, I always appreciate spending time with you. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.